Another update on the Roundhill funds. It's been a while. Again, I try to do this every week or every 2 weeks for the most part, just to give a quick update on where they're at, how they're doing, how much they've been paying, so on and so forth. So let's get to it. So what I have on the screen is the Roundhill website, which you can get to on roundhillinvestments.com. And this is for XDTE. Real quick, what these funds are. Basically, they are zero DTE covered call strategy ETFs. So they actually are zero DTE, which means they sell calls the morning of and they expire the same day. So they're in and they're out. By the close of the market each day, they're not carrying any covered calls, overnight or over the weekend, right? They just do it the same day, in and out, in and out. They're making premiums. Sometimes they lose, sometimes they win, but it's a true zero DTE, okay? So if you read here through the website, right, it says XDTE utilizes a synthetic covered call strategy that seeks to provide current income on a weekly basis. And they say synthetic because they don't actually own anything, right? They don't own shares of anything. They don't own the indexes. They're synthetic. Essentially, they have a long call, similar to Yield Max, although Yield Max has the put as well. Roundhill just has the long call. So if you go to their holdings, top holdings right here, you'll see there it is, right? The SPX, they have a call. It expires March 21st. 2025, strike price 420.69, and yeah, that's basically stays there, right? That's just sits there, and then you'll notice each day they'll add the covered calls that expire for the day. You're not going to see it now because right now it's Sunday and there's no, it's not under the holdings right now because it doesn't exist. It opens during trading hours and it closes before trading hours. Overnight, there's nothing there. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty active fund. Their distribution rate for XDTE, the website shows 26.11%. And again, I'm just doing a quick recap because some people who are maybe new to my channel, they may not be as familiar with Roundhill. And yes, of course they can read, but it does help sometimes. Like me, myself, I'd love to listen to YouTube videos, especially when I'm in the car. Sometimes I don't want to read every freaking website. So I know some people appreciate this. The one big thing that they do offer is weekly distributions. A lot of people do care about this because, imagine, the good old days, like many, many years ago, most companies, you would get paid on a weekly basis. So you'd have to figure out your expenses and be able to live off a weekly paycheck. And that was perfect, right? Every week paycheck, awesome. But lately, most companies, they pay bi-weekly or they pay, even monthly, which is, it's kind of rough. But to get paid on a weekly basis and retire off of this fund and get paid weekly, you can imagine how awesome this could be for people, right? Because obviously if you retire on dividends and you're getting paid once a month, yeah, that kind of sucks, right? If that once a month payment is so massive it doesn't even matter, that's fine. But if you're kind of living tight, or you just want to see that weekly payment come in, this is a really good fund for that. So it says also high income potential, seeks to generate high income through covered call strategy. So yeah, they're able to pay out that high yield through the covered calls. The premium, obviously. Shares, actually, some information on the fund. Their expense ratio is 0.95%. Assets under management, which is AUM, 27 mil. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Again, top holdings, it shows what it shows. Nothing much outside of the distributions, which we'll cover on my spreadsheet. And then if you go to documents, obviously there's some documents you could read, such as the fact sheet, such as the prospectus. But the fact sheet does have a pretty cool visual. If you pull it up, it does have a picture, right? So it shows you, if you see the dotted lines on the left-hand picture, that's the long call, right? This shows that, it can go up. There's no limit. Now the covered call if you see, during market hours, it gets capped. See that line on the top? It goes across. That means you're capped, right? Because they're selling a covered call at a certain strike price. If it goes above that, we don't capitalize on that appreciation, right? We're capped. And then overnight, picture to the right, there is no cap, right? There is no covered call. So if there are after hours and pre-market activity where the market's going up, guess who's capitalizing on that? Us. So again, I love this strategy. And again, I say this all the time. I don't know why I don't own more of this fund, because this is such a powerful fund, such an amazing fund, and it offers something different that the others, don't necessarily offer. But the fact sheet's pretty cool. Again, I love visuals. I love pictures because I hate reading, so it works out for me. All right, now let's get to the spreadsheet. So as far as Roundhill goes, they did launch on March 7th of 2024. Their launch price was, QDTE was 46.44. They're currently at 44.07. XDTE launched at 52.46. They're currently at 52.02. Okay, total distribution. I assume that's updated. Yeah, this is what they paid to date, which is pretty good. I guess I should make a house money column, right, to see how far away they are from paying from their launch price. So we could do that right now, actually. We could just do this. We type in house money. And then you just take what they paid, that, and you just divide it by the launch price, right? And obviously you need to convert that into a percentage format. For those of you that care, kind of how I get to a house money thing. I need text color. So you go to text color, and you probably want to make that green, because house money is green, baby. So for QDTE, they have paid back almost 10% of the original launch price, which is pretty amazing. And that's, this is useful for the people that invested in it from day one. And XDTE, they have paid back 6.72% of their original investment so far. And you can see from the current price, they didn't lose a lot on capital. Their 52-week low and 52-week high. The 52-week low in QDTE was 42.01, and the high was 49.39. XDTE low was 49.70, the high was 53.70. So you can see the bigger gap on QDTE because, their underlying is the NASDAQ, so the NASDAQ is much more volatile than the S&P 500. Typically when you look at these funds, my opinion on it is I feel much safer owning the S&P because these are higher risk, right? You don't want although you do want the high volatility, at the same time, you don't want the high fluctuations. So, like you always say, damned if you do, damned if you don't. That's pretty much it on this sheet. And then on the details, I kind of just have what the fund does, which we kind of just went through, right? They buy a call, which is a bullish play. It's a long, and then they sell a call, which is a bearish play, 0 days DTE. So, all right, let's get to what you've been waiting for. So the latest distribution was 31 cents for QDTE, and that is a 35% annualized yield. That's pretty damn good. Again, I strive for an average of 40% annualized yield with little to no capital appreciation. Of course, that's the goal. I'd love to have tons of capital appreciation, but if I want to produce a 40% annualized yield, let's be realistic here. So they had actually a pretty bad week. As most know, the market was really red, really bloody week. So they lost actually income per share. They had negative 78 cents. So quite damaging. The week before that, they lost a penny. Week before that, they did gain 36 cents. Week before that, they gained 10, 27. So overall, they've been doing pretty good, you can see. And, I also have the total return on the way right in purple. The total return, this is without DRIP, of course. This is with taking your dividends as cash. Total return from inception, the QDTE fund is up by 5.11%. Again, they launched in what, March, so that's what, 4 months. 5% in 4 months. You do the math. Is that good? Is that bad? I think it's pretty damn good. But yeah, so that's the update on QDTE. XDTE, which of course I consider is the safer of the two, they had a distribution of 20 cents this week. That's a 19.79% annualized yield. Again, their yield is much lower because they don't have, as much, the implied volatility is not as high. So the premium's not as, rewarding as QDTE. However, you should not get as much fluctuation because you see here, okay, they had a bad week as well. They lost 21 cents. Week before that, they actually gained 24 cents, right? And then the week before that, they made 22 cents. So if you look at like the last 4 weeks, for example, they won 3 out of 4, right? And you look at QDTE, let's see their last 4. They won 2 out of 4, right? And between the two, they made 46 cents, and then they lost 78. XDTE, they made 60, at least 70 cents. Though they're in the positive the last 4 weeks. So you could see, the power of these funds. And will they come out with a IDTE for IWM? Probably. I think they filed for it, to be honest. But that'll be kind of like QQQ, but even worse, right? It'll be much more rewarding on the distribution side, but the fluctuations up and down, you'd have to be able to be comfortable with that. So if you notice, how many negatives do we have on XDTE from inception? How many negative days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 out of 18 or 17. So that's pretty good numbers. QDTE, how many negatives? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 negative weeks for QDTE, 5 negative weeks for XDTE. And by the way, I don't think I covered total return for XDTE. Total return from inception, they are up 6.39%. So again, pretty powerful. Again, they launched March 7th. So these are income funds. Of course, they're not going to beat the index. We need to stop thinking about that or comparing to that. If you don't need the damn income, then just invest in the index, of course, right? Then you'll be comfortable. You could sleep better at night. But if you do need the income for whatever reason to live off of, or just have an emergency like I do, right? My income, the reason I invest in income funds is it's my emergency income, right? We're living off one income right now, and I built a fund that instead of people have their emergency savings account, right? The emergency fund, I have an emergency income source, and that's exactly what this is. Right now, of course, I'm not using it. So what happens is that income gets reinvested back into the account. So one day, though, something's going to happen. Something will break in the house. I could lose my job, anything, car issues. So the emergency income, guess what? That income will not get reinvested. It will be used for whatever I need it to be. So I don't have to pull from any savings account. I don't have to pull from my brokerage account, right? I don't have to charge my ass off and go into massive debt. The emergency income will build up, and hopefully, right now I'm up to $2,000 a month. If I can get this up to $4,000 a month, $5,000, that's some good money, right? So like a car repair, which could go pretty high, right? Go up to 2 Gs, 3 Gs. 1 month, okay, I'll take a month off. I can't reinvest. That's fine. I'll use, the emergency income source, and it is what it is. Obviously, the downside is, yes, you have to pay, taxes on it. But I work, so I increased my taxes. No big deal, right? My paycheck from work, obviously more taxes come out. So in the end of the year, hopefully I don't owe anything. And if I do own something, then I'll just use the emergency income source. Again, sorry to go off on a tangent, but I just wanted to try to explain why I invest in these funds in particular. And then I have a ROR tab. This is just the Retire on Roundhill tab. I'll do an update to this at some point, but I did make a video way back when. If you guys want to check it out, I'll pin it to this video. But it'll be better once these funds are a little more established. I'm not going to say I'm going to wait a whole year, but maybe towards later in this year, I'll do an updated Retire on Roundhill video. I think it'll be pretty good because, I'm not going to say these are my favorite funds, but they are getting up there. That is for sure. These are very, very good funds. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Is my love for these funds, is it too much? Is it annoying? Or is it rightfully so? Like, do you have the same appeal to these? I know they're not as popular as Yield Max and Defiance, but I think they do well. I think the weekly thing is, I think that's underrated too. I think like the power of getting paid weekly is awesome. So I know when you get paid the distribution on weekly versus monthly, obviously your payments are much smaller, but they add up and they're up and up. And then the compounding effect, think about that. You can put that money to work right away. So you have that going too. So anyway, that's the update on Roundhill. I hope this helped you guys out. I hope it wasn't too much, but either way, as always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This video is for fun and entertainment. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you were entertained. If not, we'll try again next week. What should the frequency be of this? Like every 2 weeks? I think every 2 weeks would be good. Weekly, again, it's kind of hard because I have so many weekly videos or daily videos. It's just hard to squeeze in. But I think every other week would be pretty good. But let me know your feedback down below in the comments. Also, let me know what you think about these funds. Are these like, does anyone have this as their biggest holding? And if so, which one? And if you don't like these funds, what is the knock on these funds? Like, what makes these a bad fund for you to invest in? Especially if you're an income investor. I would be curious to know. All right, if you guys enjoyed this content, as always, if you don't mind just hitting that like button, I believe it helps the algorithms, so they say, and it does go a long way. If you have any friends or family who are retired or trying to retire and are interested in income funds, feel free to share this video with them. Hopefully it'll help them out. Just don't tell them it's a sweaty guy in a garage that's making the video from his phone, right? They might think otherwise, but no, anyway. So that's the update, and that's all I got for today. Again, I'm a huge fan of these funds, but and I plan on making a bigger position as time goes on. Obviously, there's currently a dip, so it's below my cost basis. So there's really no reason for me not to buy in at the moment. So I plan to buy in drips and droves at the moment. We'll see. We'll get there. We'll build it up, have a powerful weekly income, reinvest that sucker, and then we'll be retired on dividends. How sweet does that sound? All right, now I'm really out of here. I hope you guys enjoy this video and have a great day. Later.